Martine's great-grandmother Yaga was enslaved, but remained on African soil.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
Hello, Torashi. So, as you may know, there's something genuinely appalling going on in the Middle East right now. And, I'm not a Middle Eastern person. I'm not an expert on this. But my completely unexpert opinion is that if you're on the side of a far-right government that has kept 2 million people in a concentration camp for 16 years while systematically destroying their water and electricity, so that tainted water is now the leading cause of death among children, or at least it was. I suspect now Israeli bombs might be the leading cause of death, but you know. My opinion is that if you're on the side of the camp guards as opposed to the people in the camp, you're probably a terrible person. In which case, you know, you're probably not going to watch the rest of the video. I also just want to say that you should be very cautious about any atrocity propaganda you might hear. My good friend Jimmy Dore, who probably doesn't know that I exist, did an excellent video on that topic, essentially explaining why a lot of the really crazy sounding things we've heard, like, you know, beheaded babies and stuff like that, are most likely just made up by very bad people for worse reasons. So, you know, be cautious about believing any atrocity that you heard about from some guy on the internet, even if it's like a journalist who's saying, over there, I can totally see 40 beheaded babies, and then later she goes on Twitter and says, actually I didn't see that, I just heard soldiers talking about that. So anyhow, think and maybe also feel a little bit, especially like for children. That's all you're going to see on that. But I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to talk about this. Actually, this video is intended as a palate cleanser. I wanted to make a lighthearted video so that I could stop thinking about this for a little bit and maybe share it with some of you who might feel the same way. So, I'm sure you've all heard of this by now, very topical, but The Woman King. Now, The Woman King did not star Lupita Nyong'o, but that was not for want of trying. They actually went to Lupita Nyong'o and asked her if she would like to make a movie about how Dahomey stopped the slave trade. Now, if you are not African, you probably don't know very much about Dahomey, though you probably have heard of the slave trade, I hope, even if you're not African. But, suffice to say that that's kind of the same thing, because that is a kingdom that was extremely notorious for having a catastrophic effect on the environment around them. Like, whole countries came into existence because people were hiding in the swamps and the jungles from Dahomey because they didn't want to become slaves. Like, one of the most horrible things that ever happened in human history, and one of the most horrible countries in human history, because they did not treat people like human beings. Hey, that sounds topical. So anyhow, they asked Lupita Nyong'o, who was so disapproving of this Dahomey slave trade that she actually took part in a documentary about it, in which she actually cried when she went to a memorial for all of the victims of the Dahomey slave trade. They asked her if she would like a starring role in The Woman King, a movie in which Dahomey are the good guys who stopped the slave trade. So I thought, wow, how do you even begin to get your head, so far up your Netherlands that sounds like a good idea. And then I thought, you know what? I should explain this by analogy. So I want you to imagine here something. I'm just going to do some role-playing. Hello, I am clueless Japanese movie executive, and this is my friend Short Round. Hello, Miss, Natalie Portman. We would like to offer you a starring role in the new film, The Woman Führer. It's going to be very inspiring and empowering for women. So basically, I'll just give you the short version, elevator pitch. This is going to be about how Ava Braun defeats the forces of England and France and the United States. Like, she fights the Americans on the beaches of Normandy and prevails. And afterwards, she is able to free all of the Jews from the concentration camps in Paris.
There's also a really cool scene where she cuts a Sherman tank in half with a samurai sword. We think audiences are going to love that one. Don't worry, stunt double will do everything. All you'll have to do is just let us use your face for that shot. So, anyhow, that's basically the deal. Before you make a decision, I have a poster here for you.
Oh, it says, watch this movie or you hate the Jews.
Yeah, that's going to be our marketing pitch. We're hoping to guilt a lot of people into watching this movie because that's easier than actually, writing one, that's actually worth watching. So, we're going to guilt people into watching it, and because you're Jewish, we assume that people will think that if they don't watch a movie with you in it, that makes them anti-Semites. Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me, okay? That's the important thing. Oh, and also, short round, I think he wants a blowjob or something. I mean, you're from Hollywood, so, I'm sure you're used to that. So, just sign on the dotted line, Natalie Portman.
So, I'm pretty sure that's basically how the pitch went when Lupita Nyong'o was asked to play the Mary Sue Champion of Dahomey in a film called The Woman King. And I'm speculating here because Lupita Nyong'o is a professional, and she did not actually explain who or why she did not accept the role. But I think it might have had something to do with the fact that it was a crime against history, a specific part of history that she actually made a documentary about, or took part in a documentary about, I should say. So anyhow, I hope you liked my rendition of a clueless Japanese movie executive. And, I don't know, maybe we can meet short round next time, who knows. So anyhow, that's all I had to say for now. Do zdawenia. God bless.
On the beach at Ouida is a memorial. It bears witness to the fate of thousands of prisoners that the warrior women captured by order of the kings to be sold to Europeans into the transatlantic slave trade.